In the film Schindler's List, we see how Oscar Schindler, aided by his wife Emilie, helped several hundred Polish Jews survive the Nazi Holocaust. This film is largely based on fact. There is another couple called Malwine and Max Schindler who were also rescuers, but they're not so well known. So with this video, I'm going to tell you a little part of their story. The two Schindler families are not related. In 1933, Max Schindler lost his job at the Neukölln district municipal hall in Berlin as a result of the Nazi law to restore a professional civil service. That was the name of the law. There was no intention of restoring a professional civil service. The object was to get rid of the opponents of the Nazi regime. Max had been a member of the Social Democratic Party, the SPD, and therefore he was an opponent of the Nazis. Therefore, the Nazis got rid of him, as well as thousands of others like him. Let's go back a few years. In World War I, Max had been injured by shrapnel, and whilst recuperating, he had tried to learn English. After he lost his job in 1933, he set up a language tutoring service and used this as a cover to visit opponents of the Nazi regime at their homes. The Schindlers had a son, Rudolf, born in 1913, and he had corresponded with Evelyn Parker from Lancashire in the UK. In January 1934, Max requested her assistance as a teacher. When she got there, she realized quite quickly that most of the students were prospective refugees, mainly Jews. At that moment, emigration was still an option, although the economic crisis was still hurting in many other countries. Therefore, the refugees had to have financial resources or financial support in the country of destination. The ability to speak English allowed the prospective emigrants means of making contacts. This was aided by the Schindlers' former political contacts in the SPD, which had contacts within the labour movement in the United Kingdom. Some people could therefore be placed with families in the UK. For example, Evelyn's parents provided refuge for a Viennese Jewish woman called Alice Friedjung and her infant son Michael by employing Alice as a housekeeper. Michael, in years to come, became quite a famous astrophysicist. After the outbreak of war, emigration was forbidden. Furthermore, in 1941, the Nazis started deportations to either ghettos in occupied Poland, Latvia, and the USSR, or to be killed. Then the Schindlers began to hide Jewish people in their large apartment on Pariser Straße and to provide food for those that they could not hide. The couple survived the war, but not their son, Rudolf. He was probably murdered in the T4 killings, having been sterilized for allegedly being schizophrenic, and then he was held in an institution. The location and means of his death is unknown. I assume he was gassed, but we can only assume that. The amount of people the couple helped is not known, but 7 names have been given. Also unknown for the moment is how they managed to finance this operation. Getting their hands on food, which was strictly rationed, was difficult, and neighbours must have seen food being brought into the home. However, no one betrayed them. One of the people saved, Ernst Lachmann, wrote to Malwine in 1948, saying, Your attitude towards the Nazi system and your convictions led you to courageously demonstrate willingness to help us when most other friends failed to do so. Your apartment was a refuge for us. We were able to flee there and be saved. Malicious neighbours and housemates didn't deter you from appearing with us in your air raid cellar. Now, the letter here certainly indicates that when they were in the cellar during air raid, that other people there realized that either they were Jewish or that they shouldn't be there. But note that whereas they weren't happy about the situation, they did not betray them to the Gestapo. Shortly after the end of the war, Malwine Schindler was one of 760 former anti-Nazi activists who were invited to a public ceremony and given some financial support. A number of people wrote testimonies, and the Berlin Senate honoured the couple as being unsung heroes in 1963. Max died in 1948 and Malwine in 1973. In November 2021, a plaque was placed on the wall of their former apartment block at Parisierstraße 54 in Berlin. To a large extent, this is thanks to the efforts of Frances Newell and her two sisters, the daughters of Evelyn Parker, who had listened enthralled to their mother's stories about Germany in the 1930s when she was there, and the letters and photographs were found by Frances in a shed in Victoria, Australia in 2019. And they are the photographs that you have seen here of the family gatherings. The story of the rescue was backed up by research in Germany. Parisierstraße is in the eastern part of the German capital, and it's quite a way off the beaten track, certainly not on the tourist trail. But should you be in Berlin and you are in the area, do look by and think of the lives saved by this couple, which largely went unrecognized in their lifetime. So thanks very much for listening. I publish at least one video every week, and that video is on a Friday at 2000 hours my time, which is Berlin time. It's an hour earlier in the UK, and it's all sorts of different times in different parts of the world. My specialization is in the Holocaust as far as history is concerned, but I also publish on other things as well, including other aspects of Nazi Germany and the Second World War, amongst others. So if you subscribe and ring the bell, you will know when I am publishing. Thanks very much for listening, and all the best from me in Poland.